Hey guys, I'm back with another lesson voiceover since you guys really liked the last time I did this, so I'm going to try to keep doing these. I included my few warm-up jumps this time, so I had a little more time to introduce the video. But these are lesson clips from two different lessons on Griffin and one lesson on Czar, where we have been working on a lot of grid work, which has been super cool, and I feel like over the past few weeks of doing this, I've seen a lot of improvements for Griffin, and I'm going to leave my trainer's commentary in the background until you guys tell me it's too distracting, because I feel like it's kind of also interesting to hear what she's telling me while I'm having a lesson. Okay, so this course was that was also still kind of just warming up. That wasn't a full course, but as you can see, there's the bounces in the middle, which I'm going to, and I think he's actually really good with the bounces so far. We haven't really encountered much issue with that.
Yeah, Finn.
Once you get a good distance in, it's kind of like with any grid, you're pretty set up. And then the rollback to the Oxer L turn, bending to this 3 stride. Okay, never mind, 2 stride. So that's the setup we've got, and yeah, so let's see how this goes. So I actually really liked that bounce. Think I found a good distance. It rode nice, and the bounces really help give you a chance to work on your position in the air, because you can kind of just get up into the right position and feel the horse underneath you and get a feel for what you're supposed to be holding. And that turn right there, that was a really tight bending line. You kind of couldn't see one of the diagonal jumps, but I think it was 5 strides. That was kind of a difficult line because of the way it rode, so I didn't love my distance to the second jump. But then there are the bounces again. I think he was really getting the hang of those this lesson. And then I think, yeah, we're rolling back to this Oxer, and he jumped that nicely, except I kind of buried him to it, which meant I needed to move up a little to make it to this 2 stride. And then because I moved up, I had to take back a little bit in the 2 stride, but I do think it rode pretty nicely. And then here we are back to the bounces again. Once again, kind of no complaints there. I really like how he was riding that. And then where are we going? Okay, I think back to this little bending line that we have. And that was a nice jump in. There's his little swap that he likes to do. But yeah, as you can see, it's kind of hard to find the curve there, and so I kind of chipped out of it. But it's the way the turn's set up, you can see it's a little hard to shape it. So that was definitely a more challenging part of this lesson. And then back to the bounces. And I think you can kind of see in this video, and maybe it's because that jump is right there, his drift is getting a little better after the jumps, and I did have to ask him to take a bigger jump here, so we kind of got long to the end of the 2 stride, but because he has such a big stride, jumping out of it was really nice after the short distance. And then we got a short distance, but with more control and intention, so once again jumped out nice, and I was overall happy with that lesson. I feel like he was pretty consistent. And then here we are 2 days later. The jumps have changed a little bit. Now there's only 1 set of bounces and a couple more lines. So new setup. And then we're going another rollback. We've worked a lot on rollbacks, and totally bombed that. And what I love about Griffin is he just does not care if I bomb it. He is super forgiving and does not hold it against me, which I think has made me so much more confident, because then I don't get panicked the next time I'm trying to do it. See, it didn't shake me up for this next line, and this 4 across diagonal rode really short. So that's good practice just to work on the adjustability of his stride. And then we're coming to this, it's also a 4 stride now, so that changed as well, and that rode really nicely. I was super happy with that line, and I find that as the course goes on, usually my eye gets better, and that's probably a result of me developing a better canter as the course of the ride goes on. So that was nice. And here we're doing something else again. Okay. And yeah, that's one of the things that's the hardest for me, is establishing the right canter, because you see I had to do little circle, get his butt moving underneath him, especially because he's such a big horse and has such a naturally large stride that it can be deceiving, and I can feel like I have enough canter when I don't, and then I usually don't realize until I pop chip the first jump, and I'm oh, I'm crawling to this jump. And then we did a little circle there because he was being a little sassy about wanting to actually push himself through the corner and not just kind of fizzle out of energy and lose all his momentum. And as you can see, after we fix it with the circle, that made that jump ride much nicer. And there was another L turn, and I think my trainer wanted us to get really specific with the strides. She was drilling us on getting 8 strides there, which was like good, but he was really good about that. And then back to the 4 stride, and as you can see, it does ride a little bit short, but he was listening pretty well when I was asking him to like rock back a little bit. And then this is a very challenging part, the oxer bending to the bounce in 4 strides, and he actually handled that really well. Because before I was like a little nervous that, or not nervous, but like I was concerned that I'd be too big coming in off of a big oxer downhill to the bounce, but he was actually really responsive to it, so love to see that. And then those are like the little moments where I see improvement in our training, or that like our flat work is really paying off, like him being more adjustable in the lines pretty much. And then back to this 4 stride, and yep, that looked nice. And his right drift, especially coming down that corner, is really like apparent, but I feel like we have been making that a lot better. And now I'm on Czar, and yep, the jumps are a little lower with Czar because I don't jump him as high anymore, but yeah, that was a warm-up jump and not a great distance. And then here we are going to the 4 stride, and I was like nervous thinking that I would have to add, because I've said before in my other videos I always add the first time, but he really ate up that 4 stride, so loved to see that. And then we're going to the other 4 stride, which since it was set a little longer, I was like, oh, I need to get 5, but then see, I really didn't need to get 5, and if I had wanted to get 5, I would have had to take a lot more than I thought in that moment, which is why I chipped. So yeah, that's like the thing that always gets me with Czar, is like, oh, I want to like shorten my stride at the first time I do the line, and usually that works for us, but then it just helps me build confidence. But then in instances like that, you can see it wasn't like totally necessary, but sometimes you just have to do things that don't look that cool. And then there he is doing the bounces. He's also really good at stuff like that. He's always like super sure of his feet when it comes to that type of thing, so like that's nice. And then he's also like the pro of rollbacks, despite being like really massive. And then we worked on getting the right strides there, and I thought that I would need to like add one again, and then as you can see I didn't need to, so I'm sure the next time I leave that out. And then here we are coming to the 4 stride, and now I'm a little more confident, but once again I did chip to that, so not the best distance, but it rode out really nicely. And I was like also nervous to jump. Like sometimes at the beginning of my lessons, particularly with Czar, I randomly get nervous to jump, and okay, we'll come back to that. Let's see how he did the bending to the bounce. Very nice. Love to see it. He looks so good there. Nice. And sometimes I'll randomly get nervous with Czar particularly and be like to my trainer, because like the younger kids ride before us and their jumps are set at like 2-3. I'm like, these jumps look great. And then also that jump was really good. Like you can see him like kind of getting excited, and both of us building confidence in him being like excited to go get the jump, especially in this line where I'm like, okay, we're gonna get the 4. And then we went and got it, and he was like excited about it. But anyway, so I'm like, this jump height is good, like we don't need to raise them. She's like, you can just do 2.6. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do 2.6. And then she goes and she puts the jumps up, and then I look at them later and they're 3 foot. Which I guess like I could tell just by looking at them. But sometimes you just need your trainer to lie to you a little bit, just to give you the confidence that you can do something that she knows you can do, but you just don't think you can do it. So there he is once again slaying a rollback. And let's see if we fix this distance. Yes, we did fix it. It wasn't the most perfect, but it was better. And yeah, so sometimes I feel like my position isn't as good with Czar jumping. Like I land on my knee a little bit, so I try to like work on that. As you can see, like I feel like I kind of land on my knee and then my lower leg swings, but it was worse at the in of that line than the out of it. And then that was like kind of a sticky change for some reason, but we fixed it. And then back to this bending line, which he was really nailing. Yes. And to the bounces, which he was also nailing. And then yeah, I agree. I don't know where we're going. Oh, yeah, all the way to the end jump. And I think I was doing a pretty good job of seeing a distance to this one. And he was liking it, so I very much. And then you can see he kind of like does his little head toss to the lead change. That's how I know he's having fun, because he's like, just let me go. I know what to do. And then back to this line, and I think that's it. And he killed it. Love him. He's so good.